Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new episode of Behind the Voice. Thank you so much for joining me because this is going to be a special episode where I'll be answering your questions. Thank you so much for putting down these questions on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Thank you so much for doing that. I know I posted this a week ago, so apologies for making this episode a little later, but I have been very much surprised by a lot of things that's been happening here. So it's been crazy. It's been a crazy couple of weeks. And all thanks to you, really. I just want to thank all the people who are the Alan Wake community who has been pretty supportive ever since I posted the interview video with Ilka Willi this year, which is crazy to know that in 2024, the year has just started. It's been 3 months in, or we are 3 months in, and I got to speak to Ilka Willi from Alan Wake, who played Alan Wake. And I got to speak to David Harewood, who played Wall Indoor. I've always been a fan of him ever since Supergirl that I watched, I guess, in 2017 or 18. So I've been a fan of him ever since. So it's been crazy that I got to talk to him as well. And it's amazing that the Alan Wakes, the official Instagram and Twitter accounts, they are also helping me out. So they shared the first Ilka Willi interview on the Twitter and Instagram stories, both Remedy and Alan Wake, the official channels on Twitter and Instagram, which was amazing and insane, mind blowing for me. And then that I never expected because I was in the office and I saw that they posted my story or posted my reel into the story and linked the full video. They did the same on Twitter a little bit later, which was insane. I could never thank them because what they did was crazy. And then later on, they also helped me in getting these people to ask questions for David Harewood because they collaborated with me on Instagram, which was surprising because I just mentioned them as a collaborator, thinking that will never happen because obviously I would not expect them to just accept it. They accepted it, which was very weird and insane. And I'm very grateful that they did that because I just never expected it. Ever since that, obviously, I would say Sam Lake and Kyle Rowley, the directors, creative director Sam Lake and the game director Kyle Rowley, kind of retweeting some of the reels and stuff like that. So it's been insane. I've been creating some artwork as well. So this right here is actually a t-shirt and a design that I made. It's an Alan Wake design. There's a night one, there's a sunset one. I made another design, few more designs. It's all actually available in my website. If you want to buy it, givenmadness.com/store. The link should be down there. If you're listening to it, it's givenmadness, GAMINMADNESS.com/store. That's the link, and you can go there and check it out. If you like anything, you can definitely get it for yourself. Hopefully you like it, or hopefully you like these designs. But it's been really fun making all these. But yes, it's incredible because I announced not so long ago that Sam Lake is going to be my next guest, which is like mind blowing that Sam Lake is going to be my next guest. As of the moment of this recording, I'll be talking to Sam Lake on a Tuesday. It's coming on the 12th of March. And on the 11th of March, I'll be talking to Christina, who played Alice Wake in the Alan Wake 2 game. So it's insane. But back to back, I'll be talking to Christina and then Sam Lake, which I'm really looking forward to. Christina has worked in so many different places, in movies and shows. A lot of people know her from The Suits. She has also played Annabella, I think, sorry, in Final Fantasy 16. I'm going 17. I'm making a new game now. And Final Fantasy 16, which is even incredible. And then Alice Wake and Alan Wake 2, which was quite surprising and the way it was done. And then Sam Lake, the legend himself, which is insane because I was always thinking, I don't know if anybody of you guys did it, but I usually would do it. Is that I would, when the year started, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a list of the dream guests. I mean, at least some people were asking like, what would be your like kind of like your dream guest or whatever. And I would always say like, yeah, sure, I would love to have Sam Lake, love to have Neil Druckmann, Hideo Kojima. These are like people who I would say, yeah, they're my dream guests. I'll never have them, obviously, but they're my dream guests. I would love to have them. It's something that I can never have. So Sam Lake is already ticked off in that, which is insane. So it's kind of like a bucket list at the same time, which is insane. I can never accept the fact that I'm talking to Sam Lake. When I do get to talk to Sam Lake, I don't know how I will be able to maintain a straight face. It's going to be very hard, but I'll try my best to do that. Otherwise, I'll be just Sam Lake. I'll be just smiling. So I don't want to do that and ruin the entire conversation. But at least I'll say this, that I will be speaking to him for an hour and a half. So it's going to be a long conversation. I wanted it that way so that we can have a lot more conversation than just that can be done in an hour. I feel like an hour is a little too short. And even I feel like 1.5 hours is short. But I mean, I don't want him to sit for 2 hours with me. That'd be insane. Unless that happens. But I definitely don't want to take that time off of him. But yeah, it's been insane. Sam Lake, I cannot believe it. Even I just cannot believe it. And thank you again for the alumni community, to be honest, who have been helping me, been supportive throughout this on Twitter and on Instagram. It's been insane. You guys are so incredible. You guys support everything about Alan Wake, everything, and you guys are really incredible. You guys are really supportive, really kind. It's very hard to even say that I deserve any of it, but you guys keep on telling me that I deserve it, and it's a weird thing to even grasp because I never accept I deserve it. But thank you for all the kind words and for everything that you guys have been doing. I feel so welcoming to be in an Alan Wake community, which is insane because I love Alan Wake. I've loved Alan Wake. I've loved Control, but I've never been around in the community until I did this, which is insane. So it's amazing to see all you guys having, supporting each other, and it's great. It's cool because there's a lot of people who make fan arts and everything. It's really cool to see that. So thank all of you for doing that, and I cannot wait to share these conversations. I'm super super excited to see what's coming next after it. I would love to have Matthew and Melanie as well, but I am not sure if I can get them if they would also be interested. That's a big question in itself if they would be interested to be a part of my podcast. Other things I would like to mention is while this channel name is called Given Madness, it's been called Given Madness for quite some time. I've been making videos for quite some time. It's been 8 years now, and I've called my channel Given Madness. That has been my username, name everywhere, Instagram, Twitter, whatever is that's my name. And that's how I call myself, or username, I guess you can say. But I kind of want to change that, especially for YouTube, because I do, even though Given Madness is a good name, I like the name. I feel like it's kind of hurting my podcast. It's not searchable. And so I want to make that change. So I will be, there's no might at this time. I've been in the headspace of I might change. Now I'm telling I will change. I will change my YouTube channel's name to Behind the Voice Podcast, or just Behind the Voice, because it feels like that's what this channel is mostly about. While I might be making 1 or 2 videos here and there about which are not podcast specific, I could be doing that. Maybe some games that comes around that I would got a review code. I'd love to make videos on that, if possible. But it is not, necessary that I'll be making 1 or 2 videos every month. I might be making 1 video in every 2 months. It is very hard to say, but there might be those things or those exceptions. But I feel like with just those exceptions, I cannot just keep my channel's name as Given Madness. So I will be changing it. I hope I can change the link of my channel as well. But if that will happen, I'll let you guys know on that. I hope you guys don't mind. I know it's going to hurt my channel a little bit based on how many people have been knowing my channel name with Given Madness and all that stuff. But I mean, it's a very important change. I feel like it's very much is needed to be done. Now, enough about my channel and whatnot. I've been talking a little bit too much, and I want to answer some of your questions because you have asked them. So I'm going to go one by one, platform specific. I'm going to go with Twitter because Twitter has been amazing. Heal Please Heal has a question. What has been your journey and the struggles to get where you are? Now, Heal Please Heal, he has been a really great friend of mine. He's a dear friend, and I consider him as my brother. He has helped me so much. We have been kind of being creators together for quite some time. He has been helping me, I would say, for 6-7 years now. And so he has been there in the lows and the highs and everything. And I always try to, if I'm feeling bad or feeling not so well, I go to him and talk to him, and I feel safe in some ways. And he's been really helpful. So thank you for that. But the journey and the struggles, it's insane. I don't know where to start because I started this, as I mentioned, I started content creation in 2015, I think. I believe so, at least. Because of the Rad Brad, and I started making content because he was making content and he was playing games and doing commentary, and I was like, yes, I'm going to do the same, and I'm going to see a lot of people in my comments too. And I was so wrong. And at the same time, I had this idea of like, I'm going to make a lot of money, and I was very wrong. So that is not how it is, and it is far, far from the truth. In order to make anything, you have to work 100 times harder and smarter. Actually, you have to work, I think you have to work 10 times harder and much more smarter. So I was not smart, obviously. I was very naive, and I was doing a lot of different styles of content. I was not trying to find myself. I was just doing contents that everybody else was doing, trying to pick that content that guy was doing, trying to pick that content that guy was doing. So I was not doing anything that I kind of liked. So I would just jump into these kind of content and nothing would work out. And I have been in many times, countless, I cannot even count, where I have been disappointed. I've been demotivated. I have no will to create more content, and I have talked to Heal multiple various amount of times that I just do not feel this is looking good. I have no idea what to do. Things are not working out. All that stuff, complaining about so many stuff, and comparison games as you compare with other people. So I was doing that a lot. So that was a lot, and I there was various points in my career, so to speak, where I was thinking like maybe content creation is not for me. I think 2022 was the year when I was like, content creation is probably not for me. And because I've tried so many, I've done let's plays, I've done reaction videos, I've done some entertainment content. I switched to a completely new channel because I thought maybe doing wrestling because I like wrestling, doing some wrestling specific content would be fun, but that didn't work out. So I tried different types of content and nothing was working out. And I was like, maybe I'm just not talented enough, which I still feel like I'm not talented enough. Or maybe I'm just like not fit to be a creator. And I was very much kind of, I very much was in that conclusion. But I was, I just still wanted to try somehow because I liked making videos. That's the one thing that I always liked. I missed it. I missed creating videos. That's the one thing that has been with me for so long that I always miss it if I don't do it. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna still do it and see what's happening. So I would always go up and down. And there was a number of times of going up and down, or the number of times I felt demotivated is like twice the times I have felt motivated, or maybe thrice the times. It was a ridiculous moment over the years, and it was horrible for me. And until I started this podcast, which was really the first ever time, which is not how you say it, but where I wanted to do something that was not in my comfort zone, because I really believe that interviewing people is not something that I am good at based on the past experiences. And so I was just like, you know what, I'm just not going to do it. But I decided to do it anyway, and I was very nervous and all that stuff. And over the years, over the few months, I was still not very much sure. But then still things started working out, and I started enjoying it because I always enjoy talking to actors and watching it anyway. So yeah, but over the years, it's been an incredible journey, and I'm so sorry for this long ass answer. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey, and I think if I would have known better, I would have done something better at that time. But obviously, that's the journey. That's how the journey is, and I need to go with the journey and patience. I am not patient. I was not, at least. I am a little bit now. So thanks to I would say thanks to Heal over there. Thank you for the question. I appreciate that. One from Mrs. E asks, hair care routine. I know she has asked me about this a long time. I've been growing my hair, I think, since 2019. I remember because I went to my friend's place, or I went to visit to my friends in March. I remember that because it was like few weeks later, COVID happened. So I remember that. So that's where I was trying to grow my hair. And so it's been since 2019. So it's been what, 5 years now? 5 years because it's March now. So it's technically 5 years, which is insane. Holy shit. So time flies. And so yeah, I've been creating. The reason I wanted long hair is because of two people. There's one is an actor, one is a wrestler. The actor is Jared Padalecki from Supernatural. I loved his long hair. It's not as long as this, but I loved his long hair. Love the guy. Love the character from Supernatural. Then the other one, which was a major one, is the rated R superstar Edge, or you might know him as Adam Copeland. He's a wrestler. He was in WWE. Now he's in AEW, but he had his long hair. Love the guy. Still do. Kind of disappointed that he cut his hair, but he's been a major inspiration for me. And I was like, maybe, you know what? I think long hair would be fun. So I always wanted to have long hair. And then other people came around like John Wick, and not John Wick, Keanu Reeves, and a few other people I don't remember right now. But like I would always wanted to have that, so I have to have that. But for me, my hair was not this way. My hair was very wavy, and I don't really like the way my hair looked. So I've straightened it. It's not exactly how naturally my hair is, but I have straightened it. I straightened this, I think back in, I think June 2023 is when I straightened it. So it's been out for more than 6 months. At least they said this would be staying for 6 months. Anyway, so I know my mom and my sister are always like jealous because I have a healthy hair, which I don't know how, but I have. But the hair care routine is not crazy. I just try to shampoo at least 2 times a week. But at least I have to shampoo once a week. I have to make sure that I have to shampoo once a week. That is mandatory. I need to. So I shampoo and I use the L'Oreal products. I have used this, I don't know, it's anti-dandruff L'Oreal shampoo because I need the anti-dandruff one. So I use that. I at least shampoo once a week, and I put a hair serum after that, and yeah, and then there's a conditioner while shampooing, and yeah, that's it. That's literally it, and I do nothing else. There's I don't know hair masks and stuff, so I have never done that. I don't know what that does. But I have not used any other products, so it's just shampoo once a week, and that's it. Mile High Star, how do you prepare for each interview? If you could have one guest that you truly want on the podcast, who would it be? You asked this question before Sam Lake was in, but at that time when you asked this question, actually, was the answer would be Sam Lake. Now that he is in, uh, which is insane. I would love. It's very hard to say one person, but I would love to have right now that is coming to my mind is there's a lot of few people, but if I would truly want someone in the podcast, I think I would really want this answer literally changed right now. I would really want John Cena. It's, even though he's not exactly a voice actor, he's an actor, but he has voiced different roles here and there. And he was Peacemaker. He played his character Peacemaker in Mortal Kombat 1, which is something is amazing. So I would love to have him, but I do not know how to, and it's very hard to contact him. Obviously, he is very busy. He's doing his movies and stuff, which is much more important to him. And he gets a lot of different projects. So I don't know if I can have him at all, but I would love to have him. As far as how do I prepare for each interview, well, it takes a while to prepare. Usually, now I'm someone who does not play games quite often as I used to, which is weird to say, even though because I love playing games. Not that I don't want to play games. It's just I just don't get time, or I don't give myself that time. I tend to focus myself on work. I'm a workaholic, which is weird because I didn't want it to be, but I am now. I blame other people, but yes. So I don't play all the games, and but I do send emails to the games that have been out there, like Apex Legends or Valorant. Which Apex Legends I have played, but Valorant I have never played. So stuff like that, or how there would be a lot of different games that I have not played, but I know these games are big enough that I would love to talk to this character because I know the characters' names and I know this and that, and I would go to the cast list and see who's who, and I would send emails. And when I get someone, and if I've not played the game, I would go ahead and watch videos on YouTube. Thankfully, there are channels out there who would put out cutscenes of these characters, especially if it's like a game like God of War Ragnarok, for instance, it's a single player game. It will be a full cutscene movie, so it will be like 4 hours, 5 hours long, and I can watch it all over. Well, I don't watch everything, but I mean, 5 6 hours would be a little too long. But I would watch at least a good amount of them so that I can understand the character, I can understand who they are, what their purpose is, how their scenes are, certain scenes that are emotional and powerful. What the people are talking about this character. I see the comments down below. I go to Reddit and see what people are talking about. I go to Twitter and see what people are talking about. So I try to research about that. Then I research about the actor themselves, what they have worked on before. How did they start? They might have some articles here and there. So I read those articles, and I see if there's some biography somewhere, something. I see the movies they have done, the shows that they have done, the games that they have done, and I see all these, and I also see interviews that they have been a part of on YouTube, maybe conventions and stuff like that. What they have said before, I see all of that, and I not jot it all down, but I understand who they are, what they are, and then I prepare questions. It takes a while, and sometimes, to be honest, sometimes there's a lot of me watching videos, but it is very important to me that I understand the person the best I can. I understand the character that they have played the best I can, and I make the questions the best I can. And sometimes I feel like I'm not doing the best job. So when the interview is over, I kind of blame myself that I have not done a good job, and I've done that multiple times, and I still do, because there are some episodes that I feel like I have not done a good job. Constantly trying to improve and trying to find better ways. But yes, that's how I prepare. Daniel Foret, thank you so much for the question. What type of games do you prefer to play? I so that's I usually play the single player games. I love playing all single player games that I get interested in. So I love my horror games. I always do. But I love the adventure games as well. A lot of different games that are different kinds of adventure, really. So I love adventure. I love anything which is narrative heavy. So I even love games like Life is Strange, which is where you don't do anything. It basically is a walking simulator game, but the story is so unique and so fresh that I just like it. I also have played on the opposite side. I've also played Ori and the Blind Forest, which is completely different platformer, and technically it was my first platformer after a while, after a long while. So I have played those games because it also has a narrative touch to it. And there's a lot of games that I play that, and sometimes I tend to play those games which are sort of walking simulator-ish but has more stories. So I love playing that. I love playing those games which has story and storytelling aspects and all that stuff. So I really enjoy those. I do play multiplayer, but not so much. I have played, like, I'm playing Helldivers 2 right now, which is too addicting. Even though I don't play with friends, I play with randoms. It's still addicting. Apex Legends, I have played. Overwatch, I've played that game for so long. Since 2016, the demo came out. I have been playing that game. Bought the game with my mom's money, and I have been playing that ever since. And I've been a fan. I've not played Overwatch 2 in a while because, well, it's a long story. But yeah, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games, unfortunately, but I do play a lot of single player games. A lot of single player games. Although I have not played games quite so much in recent times, but I still like playing those single player games. Ono Pork Chop, Marissa, thank you so much for the question. What made you get into doing interviews with voice actors? It's a very Thank you for the question. I really like this question. It's very weird that I'm answering these questions. Um, uh, I've been a fan of. I've been someone who loves watching interviews of actors in general. I would, if there's a movie I've watched, if there's a movie that's coming out, if there's a series that's coming out, there's an actor that I know that I like who's in that series or movie, or if I watched a series that I really liked, I would go to YouTube and I would search interview, person name and interview, or series name and interview. For example, I recently finished Sex Education, and I would just go ahead on YouTube and type sex education interview, and I would watch these interviews because I just want to know about them, the cast, the crew, or the cast, and I want to know about them, who they are, what they are, how they are like in real life, and all that stuff. And then I also want to know some behind the scenes. They must be sharing some of those stories. Maybe it could be dark, not dark, but like maybe it could be something they struggled with, something that they enjoyed, something that was funny. And I wanna know all that. So I also watch these games that they do. Like, you must have seen these videos where two couple of cast members are playing a game or they're answering some questions, all that stuff. I watch those as well. So I've been one of those people who watch that quite a bit. Sometimes I also watch podcasts of actors who are guests on some other podcasts. I watch those. I watch like an hour and a half podcast episode. I don't watch it per se. I kind of listen to it, but it's in my window and it's I watch it. I don't turn on Spotify and listen to it, but I watch it because I just want to know, again, same thing. But I would also want to learn some things from them. Since it's a podcast, there's a lot of things you can learn from them, and I think that's a major reason why I watch it, because I want to learn something from them that they have learned in their life, and I think maybe it can apply to me. And there's some few people like I want to name. One is Inside of You by Michael Rosenbaum. I really love it because he talks about mental health a little bit, but he also talks about like confidence, feeling pressure, not loving yourself, stuff like that, which is some right down my alley in some ways. So I love to listening what people have to say about that. I like watching Happy Sad Confused. It's very cool. I like watching Insight from Chris Van Vliet, even though it's not gaming related. It's completely different. It's wrestling, and I love watching wrestling, so I watch that. But he also interviews actors from movies as well. So it's a mix of both the things that I love. So I've always loved it, and I was like, maybe, and I've not seen many actors from games able to share what they want to share, the work that they have done. They do. There's like IGNs who do this. There's some media outlets who kind of make these videos, but they're usually short. They're never long. And I was like, maybe it's time for someone to do it. I know Dan Allen Gaming is another one who does it, and he's an amazing friend. It's funny, like I'm his friend. It's crazy at the same time. So he's an amazing friend, and he does it amazing. And I think a major reason for me to also start this podcast was him. I got really inspired by him as well. So he does it, but I saw like he's the only one really primarily. So I wanted to do it as well and make it like a podcast where I talk about mental health in some ways, where I talk about confidence, where I talk about feeling that pressure, because I feel it every time, every day of my life. And I feel like there's a lot of people who do the same, and I can possibly give them some kind of confidence to hopefully work on that. And hopefully it is shown and it's been there. But at the same time, obviously, I want to talk about the game and that they've worked in, how they prepared for the role and all that stuff. So it's just a fun thing that I like watching, and that's why I wanted to do it. And yeah, I've been ever since doing that. So it's just a fun journey, and I've been always excited when I get to talk to an actor, which is cool. And the more I talk to it, the more I get interested in being a voice actor, which is it's just crazy. But thank you for your question. All C, thank you so much for your question. Do you think lemonade is a juice? I know you said that you have lost a lot of friends because of this, but no, I don't think lemonade is a juice. I think lemonade is like an energy drink for me. It is a drink. It's an energy drink, and it's a really cool energy drink. If I'm, especially if you're not feeling so good, if feeling dull and all that stuff, having a lemonade or something like that would be perfect. So no, I don't think it as a juice. I don't know why people would think it as a juice unless you think it as a juice. I don't mind. People can think of anything anyway, but I think it as a drink, and it's a cool one. I've not had lemonade in a while. Maybe I'll have it tomorrow. Thank you for reminding me to have a lemonade. Thank you for that. Well, now I'm gonna jump into Instagram. So thank you people who asked me questions on Instagram as well. Marshmallow Jelly 99. Please interview Nolan North. He's a legend. Absolutely, I would love to have Nolan North. I had the opportunity to talk to Emily Rose, the co-star of Nolan North, when they were in Uncharted. So it was amazing because I've been a big fan of her ever since her show Haven. I don't know if anybody knows about that show, but she was the lead actress in that. And I got to know about that show because of the rated R superstar Adam Copeland or Edge. He retired at the time, and his first show was this. And I was like, I want to watch it because of him. And because of him, I got to know about her. And because of that show or because of her, I got to know about Uncharted because I had not known about Uncharted. I knew about Uncharted, I knew about Nathan Drake, but I had no idea about who else is there. Once I played it, I got to know Alina, and I got to know Alina is voiced by or played by Emily Rose, and I was like, fucking hell. So I've been a big fan of her, and it always brings a smile to my face when I see that I talked to her, which is crazy. But anyway, I've talked to her, and I would love to have Nolan North. I know he has played some incredible characters in the past, and he continues to do so. So I would love to have him if I can. I don't know if that's possible, but I'm always looking for a way to get these people in. But let's see what is actually possible. Luck Weiss says or asked, "Who's the funniest person you have interviewed so far?" Who's the funniest? I don't know. I mean, it's very hard to say who's the funniest. I always enjoy my conversation with any guests. I always am worried because whether they like it or not, and that's always the thing that I worry about. But I really enjoy talking to everyone. It's been always fun for me. But if I had to choose one, I think Andrew Bowen would be the one. He's amazing. His energy is off the charts. I love it, and it's so cool because I got to learn so much from him, especially with the fact that he talked about how there's only one you, and you gotta do what you want to do, and you know, just start being yourself because you have your one life, and there's only one of you in the entire galaxy, which is like, it's true. And so I just, not only he was able to give those advices, but he was also able to be so energetic and have so fun. It was a fun interview. It was a fun conversation I had with him, and I talked to him later on as well, and he said like we had a fun interview. I would love to do it again, which is amazing. I love if somebody says I would love to do it again. That's brilliant. And so I had a great time with him. So I think he's the most funniest one. Not with the fact that because he's joking around, but with the fact that he is just so energetic that I have so much fun with it. GTRSR009. Sam Lake and Poets of the Fall, when they will be your guests? I know this question was before, but yeah, Sam Lake is already is going to be my guest this Tuesday. I'm super excited for him. Or for me, not for him. For him, I don't think so it matters, but for me, it really does. But yes, I'm very, very excited to be able to talk to him. Cannot wait. I cannot believe whenever I listen that I'm going to be talking to Sam Lake. Just blows my mind. Nobody has done that. So it's insane. With Poets of the Fall, I would love to. Like, they have been my favorite bands. I've been listening to them every day now. Especially the Old Gods of Asgard one. But I've loved listening to their songs. I remember last year when they released their album called Ghostlight. I was listening to the whole album over and over again. So I love them. I've known them since Max Payne 2. So thanks Sam Lake for that, really. But I've known them since then, and I would love to have them. I don't know if they would like to. I don't know if they would be interested to be in, but I would love to have them if that's possible. Dudra Draw. Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. I'm curious as to how you start doing interviews and how you prepare for them. Well, I answered this question before already. How did you start doing interviews? That's a good question. I think wow, I'm not able to answer this, but basically there was a time when I know a person, I know a streamer, at least he was a streamer back then. His name is Seri, and he used to stream on Twitch. and I got to know him. And by the time when I got to know him, I think at first of the interviews I saw, not interviews, no, streams I saw of his was him interviewing some of the cast members of Overwatch. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And I got to know that Anjali Bhimani voiced Symmetra, and I had no idea who voiced who. So that was my first time on knowing that Anjali Bhimani voiced Symmetra, and I was like, oh wait, so she is an Indian, which is pretty cool. So I got to know her, and I was like, I remember saying like I think it was an Instagram video or something, and I posted in a comment like, "This is so cool! I had no idea she voiced Symmetra," and I just literally posted that um, comment, and I think I mentioned India. I think so. And then Anjali Bhimani followed me, and from there I just have known her, which is bizarre, which is so weird in some ways. Not weird like badly, but it's just like I cannot believe that happened. Anyway, so I said he was the one who was like doing that, and I was like, that's pretty interesting, man. I would love to do that. And I always had that idea in my head, and I realized that as I said before, I love watching interviews of actors anyway. So I was like, I have this, I like this, and I like this idea as well. But at the time, I was like, you know what? I'm not good at interviews because at one point in time, in some events that I started going to, I was working with a company that hosted events, and I went there and I was given the chance to interview people, but I had no idea who they were. I was on the spot, and at the same time, I didn't know how to prepare. I didn't know how to prepare. I had no idea because I had no idea about the guest. I had no idea about how to do it per se, and I was just thrown into it. So when I did it, I think I did decent, but I just didn't like the way I did it. I thought the question sucked. I thought my energy sucked. I just felt uncomfortable. I was sweating, and nothing was working out because I had to bring someone for the camera. I had my microphone that I've never used in my entire life, and I like testing stuff first before using it. I couldn't test it. That's on to me as well. I believe that that's me to blame, but I didn't test it, so it was very very nerve wracking for me. And at times I would do interviews where I would be saying in this way, "Oh my God, this is great. And thank you so much." And I would be smiling all the time. And it was not ideal because nobody will be able to understand what I'm saying. And a lot of people said that. And I was like, well, I'm not a good interviewer. I don't think so I can do this. So I really concluded after that, hey, interview videos, I'll never do it because I'm not good at them. I'm not at all good at them. I cannot speak right now at the same time. So that was the thing. But later on, I was like, maybe you know what? I like actors so much. I like watching actors. I like watching their stories and stuff. Nobody has done it in games. I would love to do it. I don't know if I can do it. And I was like, maybe I will do one video and see what happens. And I called Anjali Mimani, not called. I messaged her, Anjali Mimani, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm so grateful that she decided to do it because she was my first guest. She has been in this podcast 2 times already, but she was my first guest. And I was like, wow, that's insane. So I'm really grateful that she decided to put her trust on me that we'll have a good time. And we never had talked like in video camera or on video. So that was our first time on video, and it went very well. And I thought it was really pretty good. And then I was like, I don't know if I can get the other guest or not. So I didn't want to call it a podcast. But then I got the second guest, which was Melly Grant from Apex Legends, which is pretty cool. I had a great time with her. And then from there onwards, I got Daniel Bisutti from God of War Ragnarok, which changed everything. And from then onwards, I started getting few guests. And by the time I got my sixth guest, I think, and I think it was Adam J. Harrington from God of War Ragnarok, I realized maybe now I should name this a podcast. I think I'm confident enough that I can do interviews, and I think I'm confident enough that I can get some guests. So after that, I started sending emails like 20 each day. Anyway, so after that, that's how I started it out. But preparation is the same as I've mentioned before. I do a lot of research. That's the small answer. But thank you for your question. Moving up to YouTube, Yellowbat79 would love to know the game performances, be it voice or full performance, that you deem the most impactful to yourself, ones that stuck with you long after the credits rolled. Wow, that's a very detailed question. Game performance or full performance or voice performance? The one performance that has impacted me and that continues to stay with me is Troy Baker's Joel. He played such a fantastic character, Joel. And that both Ashley Johnson and Troy Baker, Joel and Ellie's their connection is insane. Everybody knows it at this point. Last of Us is one of the best games out there. It's one of my favorite games, if not my favorite game. It's been great. Last of Us 1 and Part 2, both of these games, and in both the games, I love Joel a lot, but I love Joel more in the first game because there were some moments that I've always remembered. I just know those scenes. I just know what he said. I know what Ashley said. I don't know. I would kind of play those scenes in my head, and I would say as Joel. And I don't know why I do that, but I do that. I kind of act in my head, and it's just one of those characters that has really impacted me because I watched Last of Us. I didn't even play it. I watched it on Rad Brad's channel, the whole 60 episodes or parts. Watched the whole thing. Just my mind exploded. I started crying. There's a lot of those stuff happen. And then in 2020, when I finally got my PS4 because I was waiting for Last of Us Part 2, I had to get Last of Us again, even though I knew every scene bit by bit, but I still had to play it. Anyway, but Troy Baker's performance has been amazing. And I know he's been in a lot of video games and he's been considered as like one of the best actors at the same time. Why this guy is in every video game? That thing, that narrative. I love the guy. And I don't know if I can talk to him ever, but I would love to have him. Love to have Ashley Johnson. Love to have Laura Bailey. The cast of Last of Us would be great. But yeah, he's the one. He's always has been the one. Pens 323. What's your dream interview? Again, that's very hard to. I think I've already answered this question. But I don't know, man. It's very hard to say. It always changes. At the moment, I think it's John Cena, and I would love to have him. That's one of my dream interviews. Troy Baker is obviously one. There's a lot of people that I can name. Troy Baker, John Cena, obviously. I have Ashley Johnson, Laura Bailey. It would be interesting to have Norman Reedus. I don't know if that's possible. But Norman Reedus would be fun. I'm just naming it out there. So these are probably some of my dream guests at this point. Even Neil Druckmann, Hideo Kojima, those people as well. Since Sam Lake is coming, I'm very excited to see what's happening. I don't know if anything of that is possible. I really don't know, and I'm expecting that it's not possible, or I'm believing that it's not possible. But anything can happen. But yeah, those are my favorite or my dream guests at this point. Ryzen, so tell me about your favorite games and movies and why you like them. That's gonna be a long answer. I think my favorite game is I would say it's The Last of Us. If I Yeah, I would say Last of Us. Both the games, Last of Us Part 1, Part 2, have been my favorite. Again, I mentioned I watched it and then I played Last of Us. So I knew everything about the game, but because I wanted to play Last of Us Part 2, I had to experience Last of Us so I can understand how to play Last of Us Part 2. So anyway, I just really like it. Last of Us Part 1's melee combat was not the best. Part 2 is amazing. And even shooting to some extent. And there's a lot of things that are better in part 2. But I just really love how everything is in that game. It's not just a walking simulator. There's like difficulties, there are bosses, everything is in it. So I really, really like it. I love the visual design of it as well. The music was amazing, all of that. It was like a game that overall was a very good experience. And Last of Us Part 2 was the same. It's that one game that after I finished it for a whole week, I was just thinking about it. Like, what did I just play, man? This is insane. It's killing me. In a good way. Like it's just destroyed my life in a good way. I've been thinking about Ashley, not Ashley. I'm thinking about Ellie ever since, and I'm feeling bad about Ellie, about Joel, about everybody, Jesse and Abby even. So I was like, this is crazy. I was devastated, and I love that game. The dodging mechanic, the ability to dodge whenever you want, the ability to just run and pick up items, which is amazing. Last of Us Part 2 did that. Visuals are insane, crisp. So I'm really, really, really happy with what happened with that game. That game is long, but it's really incredible. I've never played that game the second time fully. It's a long game. What can I say? But I would love to do that again. And I think that's the reason why, because it's a long game. But that's one of the stories just mind blowing for me. Last of Us Part 2 included. It's been a mind blowing story for me. Yeah, Neil Druckmann did something incredible, in my opinion. I know that's a political thing to say, I guess. I don't know. But probably an argument. But I really enjoyed it personally. Just me, I really loved it. I would highly recommend it to everybody. At the same time, I would be scared to recommend it to anybody because I know like everybody, it's not everybody's game. But I really, really liked it. As for movies, I don't know. It's very hard to say. Movies is very, very, very hard. But if I wanted to name one, which is this one movie keeps on staying in my head, I cannot remember anything. Mind you, I'm recording this at 12:20 a.m. right now, so might be that. But Dark Knight is possibly the one that I can't remember right now. I'm so sorry, but Dark Knight is the one, and it made me feel things. But it was like the drama was there. Batman in a way that I've never seen. Joker, obviously. And all these scenes, there's just some dramatic moments, amazing Hans Zimmer music. Who cannot miss that? Christopher Nolan's epic direction. All of it was really cool. And again, we had some iconic lines in there. And then we had some really iconic moments and some really incredible moments. I think Dark Knight Rises had even better moments, which felt even more dramatic. There were more emotional moments in that movie, and I loved it even more. Unfortunately, people didn't like it that much for some reason. But yeah, Dark Knight would be probably my favorite movie. I don't think so. I need to explain it further, but yeah, there's that. Mr. Junkos, 1627. This is the last question. What are your top 5 books if you're reading? I'm sorry, Junko, I don't read. I'm one of those guys who is not into reading. I've never read, I think after college, I would say I've never read a book. Which is even in, I don't think so. In college, I haven't read a book. I've read pages of a book. I've never read a book. So I think school was the last time I ever read a book. I remember like there was storybooks at that time. I've read those stories. I don't remember them, but I read those stories, and I remember liking some of the stories. But those are very simple English, and so if there's some simple English ones, probably I'll read it. But I have some books that I bought. I think couple books, not much. It's in my home. It's in my parents' house, but like I've not read them. It's there. I have not read them. I don't know. I just never got interested in reading anything. It's just I love watching things and listening to things. If there's an audiobook, I would love to. I would love to. I have not done that either way, but I don't usually read. I love watching, and sometimes listening. But watching is something that I love visually. I need to see visuals. Whatever it is, even if it's black and white, I love to see that. But I love to see. I want to see that. So that's how it is. Unfortunately, I don't read books. I know a lot of people do, but I unfortunately don't. So sorry about that. But yeah, I just want to say thank you everybody for giving all these questions. This has been incredible. I never expected you guys to have these many questions. It's a lot of fun to talk about. I love talking about anything really, and it's been an incredible journey so far. 2022 to 2024. It's been almost 2 years. It's gonna be 2 years in October, I think, this year. It's gonna be 2 years of this podcast, which is insane. The podcast has crossed over 500,000 views, so that is 500,000, which is insane. I cannot believe that number exists in my dictionary of head, if that makes sense. And the podcast has also been downloaded or listened by 5.5 thousand people on Spotify. So that is insane. Spotify and Apple Podcasts, I think, included. So that is insane. So thank you everybody who has watched or listened. If you don't mind, I would love for you guys to just go ahead and give it a review, give a rating on Spotify. You can only do that using the Spotify app. It's just a 5-star rating, or you can give it 1 star. I don't mind, but it's just a star rating. If you want to write a little bit more review things, you can go to Apple Podcasts and do that as well. I would highly appreciate that, especially in Apple Podcasts. It helps ranking my podcast to a higher level. So please, it would be great if you can do that. You can go to iTunes and type in Behind the Voice and you'll find the podcast. But thank you everybody so much for all the love and support. I cannot wait to share more. I do not know what's going to happen. So far, I have 2 guests. I have another guest, which I have not announced yet. But so far, I have 2 guests, or 3 guests in total, but 2 that you guys know about, 1 that you will know later on, I think next week. So I'm super, super excited to share all these amazing stories. I do not know what's to come next, but I know one thing for sure, that I'll never stop. I'll continue pushing. I'll continue contacting actors as much as I can from so many games that's coming up. And hopefully at one point in time, I would love to have like in-person interviews, going to meet the person and having the interview, in person would be a different feeling. I've never had that feeling. I would love to have that feeling. I'm itching for it at this point. I shake their hand and take a photo, whatever, and just sit in front. I think that'll be a much better conversation in some ways. I will have a better conversation instead of like virtually, which is fine. Virtually, I don't mind, but like in person would be even better. I don't know how to do that. For that, I need to go to America, but I don't know how to go to America at the same time. So I don't know if any of that is possible, but I would love to do that. But in the end, I just want to say thank you all for an hour listening to an hour of this episode. I don't know if anybody of you is listening to this point, but if you are, thank you so much for listening to this point. I really appreciate that, and I cannot wait to share more. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, great week. I hope you enjoy the episodes that's coming up, and I hope you have a fantastic day, fantastic year. keep on pushing, keep on doing what you want to do, and don't stop. No, for anyone other than yourself, just don't stop. Just keep believing in yourself and keep doing. Try to improve as much as you can, and you'll get there. You'll get what you want to do. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.